Okay, so now I'm a host. Okay, Melanie, thank you very much for joining my live video. And please give us a short introduce about yourself.
Yes. So my name is Melanie Ashley. I work in London. I work in fashion communication alongside young designers on different projects and generally with Central St Martin's in the fashion department there. So working in fashion communication and digital PR.
那 Melody Ashley 呢？她工作在伦敦，她是一名非常有经验的时尚 PR、时尚公关。那我相信今天来听我们直播的很多同学呢，也是对时尚公关 （Fashion PR） 这个话题非常感兴趣，因为它是一个非常有趣又非常广阔的话题。那相信今天 Melody Ashley 呢，可以用她在时尚界有经验的一些案例来跟我们分享什么叫做时尚 PR。
So I've worked with clients like Matty Boven, Frederick Jarenson, Love Magazine, Central St Martin's, and British Vogue, ID, Dazed, across many different platforms.
那 Melody Ashley 呢？她曾经在伦敦的 Love 这个杂志、中央圣马丁艺术设计学院以及英国的 Vogue 工作。
So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to be looking at 5 projects that I've done over the past year. This has been obviously a very special year for all of us, and it's about adaptation and changing how we do things in the face of different kind of challenges like we've experienced with the pandemic. So 5 different projects and talking about different elements of them and how we worked to overcome problems.
Okay. 那我们今天呢，将会给大家通过5个实际的案例来讲述什么是时尚 PR。那时尚 PR 呢，一直是走在时尚最前端的一个职业和工作。那要面对很多的挑战，很多的不确定性，所以呢，这是一个充满了激情又非常有意思的工作。
So the first project is working on producing of a catwalk show for Matty Boven, which is how to support a young designer.
那第一个项目呢，我们将会给大家讲的是Matty Boven 这位设计师，他2020年的一个 show，这个 show 呢将会讲述是怎么样去支持年轻设计师的。
The second is Frederick Jarenson, Fashion in Motion at the Victoria and Albert Museum, and this was how to produce a show in a protected environment.
OK， 那第二个是这个案例呢，我们会给大家讲的叫 Frederick 这位设计师，也是2020年的秀。我们会给大家讲述他现在这个秀是在伦敦 V&A 博物馆做的，主要是讲去做这个环境保护。
The third is Central St Martin's MA Fashion Show in 2020, which is February, and this is how to produce a show with 25 designers, so lots of designers in one place.
那第3个案例呢，我们会给大家讲述伦敦著名的中央圣马丁艺术设计学院。我们知道中央圣马丁艺术设计学院每年它的本科毕业秀和它的研究生毕业秀都是非常受到关注的。那在今年呢，这个麦乐迪是如何去策划这样2场时装秀的？
The fourth would be the Central St Martin's BA Fashion Show, which had to adapt within 3 weeks to produce, instead of a catwalk, a digital showcase. So this is how to replace a catwalk.
OK， 那在这里面呢，我们也会给大家着重中央圣马丁本科的毕业秀，因为本科的毕业秀一直都非常的受关注，尤其是在今年，就是让在短短的3个星期之内去准备一场不能够真正上舞台的时装秀。
And then we're going to talk briefly about London Fashion Week that's happening in September and how they're planning to tackle, digital presentation and generally how they're going to present fashion going forwards. Yeah.
那我们也会给大家讲这个伦敦时装周。那伦敦时装周在面临现在一个9月份，因为通常是伦敦时装周，但是由于今年疫情的原因是不能够开展的。然后伦敦时装周呢，怎么样去用一个数字的形式来应对现在的这个不能够实际去展示的这种时装秀的一个挑战？
So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen so you can all see, and there's going to be a series of different presentations and films that we're going to watch while I talk to you about what I did for each project.
好的，那现在 Melody 呢会给我们用屏幕分享的形式给大家着重讲这5个案例。
Yes. Okay. So I hope you all can hear me, and I hope that this can be seen very well.
希望 Melody 也希望大家能够正常的听到我们。OK, I found my Wi-Fi getting better.
Yes.
OK, 那大家刚才也特别不好意思，因为我们这个 WiFi 的原因，就是我8点半的时候就是没有播出去，所以就是 Melody 和我也是在这里等了大概半个小时才播出去。OK, let's.
Yes. So I'm going to share now, so you can see what I'm looking at. Like I said, the first project we're going to look at is Matty Boven. Oh, you must give me permission to host the screen.
OK.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you do that? Can you share your screen?
Yes. I can share my screen now. Okay, now you can see JIAYING, I guess. So, what I'd like to show you first. So this was the first project we're going to talk about, which is exactly a year ago today, and is a fashion show of a young designer that is called Matty Boven. So Matty Boven is, he graduated from Central St Martin's. He's an experimental textile and knitwear designer who lives and works not in London, but in a different place in the UK called York, where his family's from. So I work alongside his PR, his main PR. Her name is Mandy Leonard. And together we work to produce the catwalk show that he put on at London Fashion Week.
那我们现在给大家介绍的第一个实际的案例呢，是 Matty Boven，Matty Boven，right？Matty Boven， 他是一个来自于英国的设计师。那他毕业于中央圣马丁艺术设计学院 ，Melody 呢是他品牌的职业公关。那他毕业之后呢，其实他并没有在伦敦创立他的品牌，而是住在约克 York 这个地方，是英国的中部的一个地方。那大家现在看到的呢，就是Matty 在伦敦时装周的这个秀场上。
So what we see here is the show itself, and I'm going to show you now a document that I've put together of all the elements of the PR which was involved in making this happen.
OK， 那 Melody 接下来会给大家展示的是他做的一个视频，是把很多公关的元素融在一起的。
Great. So I hope you can see the amazing fashions here. He's great at accessories, and he stocks at different stores like Liberty and HK Lorenzo. And he makes very small runs, and he very bespoke pieces.
OK， 希望大家能够关注一下这个设计师他的这个饰品的这一部分，大家有看到是非常有意思的。这个设计师他在伦敦他在圣马丁的时候是这个针织专业毕业的一位设计师。
So what we're going to see now, I'm going to go through, but is a show report of the coverage and the different things that happened around the show to help it become successful in communication. So how we got people to see it, how we got people to engage with it, and how we got different industry partners to be involved.
OK， 那现在我们给大家展现的这个现在我们给大家展现的这个 PPT 呢是 Melanie 这个品牌的公关 PPT。那它首先呢，它展现了这个品牌很多不同的元素在一起。另外呢，就是它把这个秀上很多的亮点和策划点会在这个PPT 中给大家说一下。
Great. So JIAYING, I'm going to just go through this quite quickly so we save time. So the best thing to do is just to say now that we have, I will go through and we have press release,
Yeah.
show press release, show credits, invitation. So if you like to, how is best to do this? I can just say, because I want to make sure that I can sort of show each piece. Here we have the show credits.
OK，那我们先给大家看到的呢，这个叫做 press release， 就是我们中文叫做新闻稿。在我们介绍一个品牌的时候呢，通常我们都会有这样的一个新闻稿。那非常重要的就是，当我们展现一个时装秀的新闻稿的时候，我们有一个 show credit。那这里面呢会展现谁是秀导，谁是这个，比如说摄影师啊，化妆师啊等等一些非常重要的岗位，我们管这个叫 show credit。
There's a lot of different elements to a show, but this basically shows you all the different people that contribute to a show, to actually the actual presentation. And what is useful is that all the guests at the show would receive this information too, so they can also contact all of these people.
Well, OK， 那当然，一场秀是需要很多人去做这个贡献的。在这个 show credit 上呢，我们会列出一些主要的一些贡献的不同的岗位，包括 PR， 包括一些刚才说的一些秀导等等，包括一些化妆师。那这样子呢，同时你也给了你合作伙伴的一个机会，就是也会写他们的一个联系方式。如果有别的人对他们的这个工作成果特别感兴趣，比如说像卖这个秀的话，它的这个视频非常有意思，那你的这个其他的人看到哦，原来这个视频是这个设计师做的，他也可以去联系，那这样就起到了一个公关的作用。
This is the press release, which is an explanation of the collection itself and helps journalists to properly speak about the work that he is putting out.
那第二页呢是一个 press release， 就是新闻稿。那新闻稿呢主要是描述这个设计师本季他主要的灵感来源是什么，以便让一些媒体他在写东西的时候呢，可以在上面找到一些非常核心的关键的内容。
We also have here the invitation that was designed by Matty himself. This is the front and the back, and it shows the sponsors of the show and also the graphic design of the designer, so an idea of who, how it's going to be.
OK， 那这个呢就是 Bowen 的这个show的邀请函，这个邀请函呢是他自己设计的，有正反两面，然后你可以看到是有他的设计风格在里面。
Great. What we then follow with are pieces of press that explain about the designer. So we set these things up for either interviews or special previews for the magazines to do before the show, so people can anticipate to watch it.
Okay. Just one moment. 然后在这一页呢，我们会给大家看，就是主要的参与这个秀的一些核心的，比如说一些妆容啊、一些配饰啊等等。
And as you can see, these are all designed. Here is the designer himself in Italian Vogue. What we're looking for is ways to make people interested and engaged before the show begins, before the show happens. So this is before the show.
It's a designer for research. What's this picture for?
This is in Italian Vogue.
OK， 那这个照片呢是意大利的 Vogue 展现这个设计师在这个秀之前的一些状态。
Mm-hmm. So when the show happens, we produce the show, and We have lots of different designers. So these are the people who we've invited to the show. Will publish their reviews and also their backstage images. So here is a selection from ID Magazine, Financial Times, Business of Fashion, New York Times, and Vogue Runway. So I'm going to go through those pictures while you explain.
那这个整个的公关的 PPT 上面呢，也展现了他们这个受被一些核心的杂志或者媒体所报道。第一个是 ID 杂志，然后是美国的 Finance Times， 还有那个 BOF。那这几个呢，都是时尚行业非常重要的媒体。
New York Times and Vogue Runway. So this is Financial Times. Here we have Business of Fashion, BOF, Vogue Runway,
Vogue 杂志。
the New York Times Style Magazine.
纽约时报。
And then the other element that is very important is producing backstage images. So here we have different companies coming in to take photographs backstage. This is Purple Magazine.
Purple Magazine，OK。那另外一个非常重要的元素就是秀场的后台。大家知道，在秀场后台，我们通常会拍一些花絮。这个就是 Purple 这个杂志，它展现了这场秀的一些花絮。
And here we have our backstage photographer for days. You can see Matty here with his special headpieces made with Stephen Jones.
那现在呢，就是更多的这个后台照片，不同的摄影师拍的。
And these are Liberty fabrics. So he collaborated with Liberty, the British department store, on the fabrics for the show as well.
OK， 那还有一个值得关注的点，就是你们看到这场秀上的面料，这个是和collaborate with who? British what?
Liberty, it's a British department store.
OK，
Liberty London.
英国一个非常有名的面料的百货公司叫做 Liberty 去合作开发的这个面料。如果大家对这个伦敦的时尚界感兴趣的话，就会听到 Liberty 这个大名鼎鼎的、有非常久的历史的卖面料的一个奢侈品的一个shopping mall。
And you can see as well, it's very important that you have the right kind of a group of people who get to see the show as a preview. So we have international press, being Anna Wintour from American Vogue. We have Edward Enninful, who is editor of British Vogue, and then you have different celebrities. This is Daisy Lowe, someone who would be a bit of an influence, who has their own audience attending the show.
那再一个更重要的元素，关于时尚公关的，就是一些重要的客人来看了这场秀。那不用说，坐在中间的 Anna Wintour 大家都是认识的。另外呢，还有一些时尚界重要的这个 KOL 也来参加了这场时装秀。
Yes. So this really, this is one of the designers. This is one of the people he also collaborates with, Age of Aquaria, who is quite a famous drag artist, and Matty dressed them for the show. So you see he's wearing a piece made specially for the show itself.
She is actor, so she's singer.
A drag artist, Age of Aquaria. It's from RuPaul's Drag Race.
OK， 那这个女艺术家呢，也是一个非常有影响力的一个时尚艺术家。然后她穿的这身衣服呢，是这个设计师 Matt 特意给她做的这个 dress up 这样的一身衣服，然后来参加她的时装秀。
So all these elements come together to really contribute to getting the work and to getting the fashion out into the world, because it's most important that people are aware of it, and the visual impact is effective. So this is what we do, all these different elements that to complement the showcase itself.
OK， 那我们刚才所说到的这些元素，这所有的元素加在一起，就是一个时尚公关为一个时装品牌、为一个时装秀来做的这个贡献，或者一个非常有序、有方法的一个展现形式。所有的这些都会让一个品牌去增值，让一个品牌可以和它的这个受众有更好的、更清晰的交流，有更好的、更清晰的视觉的这种艺术的交流。
So this was a traditional show experience, and now we're going to move on to the next project, which is in January 2020. So this is September 2019. The next show we did was January 2020. January 2020.
下次的这场秀呢是这个2019年9月份的这场秀。那我们现在要给大家介绍的是2020年1月份的一场秀，现在更新了，随着时间的推进。但是我们刚才所说到的第二个设计师 Freight 它主要是用环境保护的这个概念和伦敦著名的博物馆 V&A 一起去合作的这场时装秀。
So I'm going to play a short film and speak as well. But this is the first show of Norwegian designer Fredrik Jarensen, who went viral last year with his bubble designs.
Sorry, I didn't hear very clearly. Shall we start the fashion show?
You can start the fashion show. If you just tell them this is the Norwegian designer Fredrik Jarensen, who was famous for his bubble designs, and yes, and then this is the Fashion in Motion, which is a series that is done by the V&A to put fashion in their collections in the museum.
OK， 那这个设计师呢是一个挪威的设计师，他设计了一个就是这个球体，就是我们去年如果大家有看中央圣马丁的时装秀的话，都会有看到这个有一个彩色的球，这个当时在去年非常非常的轰动啊，就是这个设计师做的。那他2020年1月份这场秀是在伦敦 V&A 博物馆去做的。
So as you can see, this is fashion in a museum context, so a place that is very protected and very special. So it restricts a lot of ideas. So this is about how to maintain the designer's vision while also respecting the environment.
OK， 那我们看到现在这场时装秀呢是在博物馆里面去举办的，所以我们可以看到这个博物馆首先就为这个时装秀来增加了一个背书，也增加了一个文化艺术的感觉，所以这个场地是非常重要的。
So what we did with this project was to work with the V&A, which is a big brand in itself, and use their network of people and also their power in promotion to get people to attend and see this work in the situation. And it meant that a much different audience could see this work. It changed it from just fashion into a different sort of environment. So perhaps more of an art environment.
OK， 那我们就是再说一下，因为 V&A 它这个博物馆呢，基本上和纽约大都会博物馆是属于这种同级别的博物馆。那如果一个设计师能进到一个博物馆去做秀，首先对他的品牌是一个认可，是一个认证。然后另外呢，有这个V&A 博物馆这样的一个背书呢，你还可以去邀请到很多非常重要的嘉宾来参加你的时装秀。那这所有的这一切呢，都会对你的品牌、对你的 PR 公关有一个非常好的提升。当然，这也不乏这个主要是 Melody 这样非常有经验的公关来去给这个品牌做的这样的一个联系和贡献。
There he is. So this was a challenge, but it was very amazing to do this in this Raphael gallery, which has all these huge cartoon paintings, and to do this fashion show within that space was very inspiring, and also just a very different landscape that we would have had access to.
OK， 那我们也可以看到第二场这个时装秀呢，就是它是很好用了这个场地。刚才这个 V&A 博物馆这个场地是应该是这个公元前古希腊时期的那个背后的这个雕像，所以它很好结合了这个场地，做了这么一场时装秀。
So next we're going to look at the MA fashion show, which happened in February 2020 as part of London Fashion Week.
OK， 那我们继续再看这个中央圣马丁艺术设计学院2020年2月份办的MA 的就是研究生的这个毕业秀。 那这个就是更近了一个时间。我们再看一下它的概念是怎么样做这个时尚 PR 和时尚公关的。
So my role in this project was to run the communications. So I ran the communication campaigns to promote the show, and also worked upon what it was to get everybody to attend the show, and working with the sponsor, which was a very big sponsor this year, being 3Mobile. So 3Mobile were the sponsor, and they worked alongside L'Oreal to help us to promote the show.
OK，那 Mandy 在这场公关，在这个就是圣马丁的研究生毕业秀呢，他主要是担任时尚公关这样一个角色，所以他会跟很多不同的媒体啊、品牌啊进行交流，并把这个秀呢推广出去，并且呢也会去谈一些这个赞助商。那这一次他们就得到了一个很好的赞助，是 Three 这个就是移动公司赞助的。Three 是英国最大的一个移动公司。
So what was interesting about this show was we kept it very pared back, and the invitation is like this with 2 letters on either side. So it starts with hell, O. So it's hello, but the word that he's led with is hell, which I feel like was a bit poignant for this moment. Like we were about to enter COVID-19 and everything was very stressful. So this was kind of the creative direction of Fabio Perez, who is the director of the course, and this was our leading graphic for this catwalk.
OK，那这个是他们的这个邀请函，你看到啊，然后邀请函上本身是要展示一个 hello 这个词，但是他们特别有意思，把 hello 前面放在一块，然后最后放了一个 o， 他把它分开了。那为什么呢？因为这个当你看到这个 how 的时候，就好像有一点点是这个，就我们现在说这个新冠病毒，大家因为是2月份嘛，就是刚刚感受到这个新冠病毒的压力，所以一说新冠病毒，大家就这样的一个感觉。所以呢，这个创意呢是来自于这个圣马丁服装设计 MA 的这个课程导师的一个创意，系主任的一个创意。
So we had 25 designers on the catwalk, and you can see here this is the space that we were working in. It was tiny. So this involves a lot of a huge amount of preparation and organisation for this to work. So you can see here the spaces are so small.
OK， 那我们现在给大家展示的是这个后台，其实大家可以看到后台是很挤很小的啊。
Yes. So all of these works were taken downstairs into the main street of the university, and then we hosted the show in the street. And you can see here the show itself, and the production was very high. So for this show, because the money was being given by a sponsor that was technical, the technical sponsor wanted to put all the money into these technical accessories, so it's very different for us. I'm going to play the show while JIAYING translates.
OK， 那我们刚才说这个后台是非常小的，但是那个我们办这场秀的时候是在中央圣马丁这个入口的地方。如果大家有去过或者参加我们创意学院游学的话，就有机会来到中央圣马丁艺术设计学院啊。这个就是中央圣马丁艺术设计学院一个入口。当然平时的时候是很亮的，这个因为做这个时装秀，所以就很暗。但是呢，你们会感受到很强的科技感，因为 Three 这家公司它是一个科技公司，因为它是这个移动数据嘛，所以它希望体现很强的这种科技感。
What was unusual about this show, you can see, is that there's only audience on one side of the catwalk, and this is because we had a huge projection on the wall of where the audience is looking. So the catwalk was unusual in the sense that the models came up one way and then went back down another way, which was a separate catwalk. So the front row, the priority seats, were this one here, and they got the first look of the catwalk.
I see。那我们有看到这场时装秀跟其他的时装秀不太一样的，就是它只有一侧坐人，另外一侧是不坐人的。然后它在背后呢摆了一个很大的那个 叫什么投影仪或者投影幕布，然后而且它呢只有一个方向，就你看到模特是从这边出来的，它也就是它出来和进去不是同样一个口。
And you can see that the collection that we just saw here, so there were lots of different elements, but this designer here is named Paulina Russo, and she debuted a collection that she had done with Adidas on the catwalk. So this goes to show how progressive the students are today, is that they already have partnerships in place for themselves. So this designer worked with Adidas to produce her shoes, and the shoes came out quite close after the show had happened.
OK， 那刚才我们按暂停键的这套衣服呢，是这
I'll
个
go back.
在学生时期就和阿迪达斯一起合作的一套设计，然后他还为阿迪达斯做了这个鞋，所以大家可以知道，如果你是一个好的设计师，那么在学生时代就有机会和好的品牌一起工作。
And so this really was the main feat of putting together so many different designers, was to first of all have a sponsor that's involved and wants to be a part of the actual show production, and to be very organized and tight together with the group of designers you're working with. However, the main challenge obviously is not to be too specific, because we were presenting so many different things, 25 different collections. It's not so easy to blanketly brand something. So we often keep things to be have a very this applies to music and to graphic design. There has to be a generalization, so it means that the work can really shine for itself.
是的，那么作为一个时尚公关来讲，他说这场秀呢其实是有挑战的，为什么呢？因为你在一场秀里面要放25个不同的设计师，把他们不同的这个元素放在一起，那一场秀是要保持很高的这种一致性的，所以呢，公关就要花很长时间去思考，把谁和谁放在一起，什么样的一个顺序，怎么样让大家觉得，哎，这场秀是连贯性的、一致性的，又能突出每个设计师的一个不同点。那这个呢，就是时尚公关的功力了。
And we're just seeing now one of the L'Oreal Professional winners. Her name is Sarah McCormack. And this was one of the collections that was chosen by the judges to be the winning collection of this year.
OK， 那我们现在看到呢，就是被选为今年最佳的服装设计的这个系列。
And this designer won a money prize from L'Oreal Professional.
OK， so 从这个 L'Oreal Professional 呢，这位设计师呢就可以获得现金的这个奖励，这个就是今年所有评委一致认为最好的一个设计。
Yes. So the next project we're going to look at is BA Fashion. So BA Fashion is the largest course at Central St Martin's, and in March was given 3 weeks to move out of the studios and to adjust the final year to what would be a digital showcase. So there was very little time, so we had to work together, and I'm going to tell you about what we did.
OK， 那第4个案例呢，我们想给大家看一下的是中央圣马丁艺术设计学院本科的时装秀。本来呢是原定于2020年3月的，但是因为那个时候正好就是伦敦 lockdown 了嘛，就是封闭了。封闭之后就是给了他们3个星期，让他们从这个原本真正的时装秀呢变成一个虚拟的时装秀。Well, I have one more question about the previous MA fashion show. Can you explain why it's so dark? It looks really dark.
So the problem that we had with the fashion show, and this is another thing you have to remember, that not everything will go as you imagine. Because we engaged so much with our sponsor, the lighting was very much about the projection and not enough about the catwalk. And this is a lesson that we learned, because they were sponsoring us. The lighting in the show was not as we wanted it to be.
I see. Okay.
And that's because the sponsor had an agenda to show to showcase their technology rather than to showcase the fashion.
I see, I see. OK, understand. OK，因为刚才我问了 Melody 一个额外的问题，就是刚才 MA 那场 fashion show，你们有没有觉得就是整个灯光都特别暗，尤其是最后几个衣服出来的时候，我问他为什么会选择那么暗的这个灯光，他说其实呢这个。灯光呢，主要是他们在现场去展示科技的一个方法。当时确实没有非常去考虑灯光和这个服装结合在一起的效果，结果就没想到最后拍出来的这个效果呢是有点太暗了。所以对他们来说呢，这也是学到的一个课吧，以后就是要注意。因为这个灯光呢是由一些赞助商去提供的，那他们希望更多的。
And yeah, it's very important to have a very clear understanding with your sponsor as to what you will and won't do, and that's just something that everyone should really take into consideration when they work with a sponsor.
OK，所以呢，就是说，在这个选择赞助商和就是保持我们这个时装秀的质量当中呢，要找一个平衡。OK，yeah，understand.
Yes. So, did you introduce BA Fashion or?
Please.
You have, okay. So, like I said, we had very little time for BA Fashion. So, BA Fashion is a group of 109 students graduating from 5 different pathways, and they would normally get a big catwalk that is sponsored by L'Oreal, MAC Cosmetics, and a huge kind of event. And we were locked down in March, which meant that this would never be possible.
那因为中央圣马丁的这个本科的 fashion show 是一个特别大的 fashion show，因为每年就是有大概119个学生从这边毕业，所以它是一个比刚才那个 MA 更大的一个秀。MA 当时他因为只会选择25个。那所以当时他们因为在3月中本来是要做这个秀，但他们紧急的得到通知，3周之内就因为伦敦的这个封闭，就不能再办这个实地的 fashion show 了，他们就要完全打破之前做的所有的想法和概念，去举办一场虚拟的时装秀。
So we changed the students were then changed. They no longer had to make 6 looks. They had to make 3 looks. And no, they had to make 2 looks, and then they had to make a 20-second video.
20-second videos, OK，对，然后他们就决定说，马上就决定，那每一个学生就只能选择2个 look， 就是2身衣服，然后每一个学生提供20秒的视频。
And so what we had to do then was, instead of producing a fashion show, we had to produce a digital showcase, which was in the form of a film. And that showed every single student's work. Usually we would only show 40 students because it helps people to process the work and for them to interpret it. But this year we decided that everyone had to have equal precedent. So we presented every single student in one short film.
OK， 那通常呢，就是他们在这个时装秀呢是选择一些学生上秀，不是让所有人都上秀。但是因为这是一个 digital 就电子的秀，所以他们就决定，那就让所有的学生提供的这个20秒视频都能展现在整个的这个视频当中。
So I'm going to show you quickly. This is a preview that we produced, and to give you an idea of the fact that we had, I think it was 6 weeks to make this a reality, and all the work is student shot, so they made it themselves. We had some help with production, but most of them made it themselves.
OK， 然后我们将会给大家看一下这个整个的视频啊，虽然有一些是这个专业的制作公司做的，但是大多数视频还都是同学自己做的。
I'm going to play the preview now. So this was a small advertisement that helped us communicate what was going on with the actual work. So this was like a 16-second advert that we then sent out to press industry and to obviously all of our followers on Instagram and on YouTube to let people know when the show was and how almost it was going to be presented.
OK， 那刚才给大家展现的是这个，就只是这个广告的阶段，就前面15秒特别短的，因为他们把这个很多 精彩的部分就集结到这个15秒当中，在这个秀之前的差不多2周之内，大家就会收到这个广告，然后放在 Instagram 上面，放在 YouTube 上面，等等去做宣传。
What we really wanted to do and we thought was most important was actually to show the students in process and to give them a voice. So we produced a documentary, which I'm going to show you only a few minutes of, that shows them in their homes making their collections.
What do you mean? The host making this collection?
We wanted to show the students, you know, in working, because we felt like that was more interesting almost than the work itself, because we knew that this was the story of them making their work in lockdown. Okay. So we collaborated with the Love magazine and we produced this this documentary, which gained 20,000 views within it being posted in a day, which is a lot for us.
OK， 那因为这个，如果大家最后看到的是一个成品的视频呢，可能就不是很清楚学生在背后制作的这个过程，非常有意思的一些东西。所以呢，圣马丁就联合了 Love 这个杂志一起去生产了这个 Behind Screen， 我们叫幕后花絮，就是这个视频背后的幕后花絮，然后学生是怎么样做的，也去展现就是英国人和在英国伦敦lockdown 之后人们是如何工作的，或者这些学生是如何为他的毕业秀去工作的。
I'm just going to play 3 minutes, JIAYING, and there is some subtitles that are incorrect, but I just want to give them an idea of the students, obviously how they were working.
OK， 那我们会给大家先放一段，然后可能那个字幕你们可以先忽略啊，只是让大家感受一下同学们在这个lockdown 之后，在这个封闭之后是如何工作的。
Yeah.
So you happy about your collection, Brian?
No. Not one bit.
Hello. My name's Chad. Do you remember from home? Yeah, the mission.
I'm James Walsh. I'm 23. I'm from Manchester.
I'm Jamie. I'm a final year women's wear student from St Martin. I've been making my final collection.
This together lots of different.
And I'm a bag of emotions.
I have just woken up. I haven't slept very well. It feels like a long, stressful holiday.
This is how I start my mornings. It helps build my motivation for the day. It eliminates any kind of mental stress that I had.
I'm just shooting one more look that I just finished, and I just need to finish my makeup.
I basically have just woken up next to my partner in crime here. She's not speaking to me because I'm done with her.
And you know what they say, keep your friends close, and you're going to be
Stressful week.
That's the word I'm going for. I look absolutely insane, and I love it.
Getting a bit worse for wear today. It's not ideal.
I have to check my emails and messages and edit the photos and finishing touches on the clothes, and I think I'm missing some detail shots, and I think I missed someone's birthday yesterday, and then there's Instagram and the climate emergency. Absolutely need to do laundry, and cleaning is way overdue.
Start working like at home, like what's your kind of routine? You wake up,
Have a shower.
and what kind of time do you wake up?
It fluctuates.
It's never earlier than 1 though, is it?
It's pretty strange because I'm back into my home country now, although I'm supposed to be in London in the studio.
Most of my work is digital now. I'm editing some stuff for the website. I'm also doing some 3D modeling stuff and working on AR as well.
A mask I made from a virtual material. You can see the snaky skin texture on the face, and it's real time controlling my interaction.
Drawing the illustrations for my portfolio. I normally like to draw on paper with colour pens, but I don't have scanner at the moment, so I'm using iPad. Ice cream time. Yeah.
I never thought I'd be one to bead, you know? It just takes so much precision, patience, and tolerance. It's just mad tedious. I am currently making a skirt that consists of 130 pieces of plastic.
This is the latest finished one that was being finished up until last night.
I still have some finishing touches to add to the collection. I'm remelting some plastic packaging.
It fit me perfect because I did actually measure them myself.
I'm in my new studio, also home. It's a hotel room in Hong Kong because I don't have anywhere else to go.
So what you're seeing is the students working and in their different places across the world. So students in Hong Kong, in King's Cross, and you see them, how they're adapting to different situations and how it affected their work.
OK，那我们通过刚才这些视频呢，就可以看到这些视频都是来自于不同的学生。我们可以看到这些不同的同学，他们是如何在封闭之后，在自己的城市工作的。他们都是圣马丁的学生，但是他们封闭之后有在香港的，有在伦敦 King's Cross 这些不同的地方，他们是如何生活的，然后如何工作的，很丰富，很有意思啊。Is the video providing to from the student and some people connect them together?
Yeah, we edited them together. So the students gave us 5 clips each of different times in their day, and then we edited it together with the music and made the story really, and it worked really well.
OK， 那他们呢，就是从每个学生提交5个不同的这个视频片段，然后呢，他们这个时尚公关的这些同学呢。和这些人呢，会把这个所有的视频呢，会决定怎么样去排列这些视频，然后怎么样把这个视频编辑成一起，包括背景的音乐，然后制成这样的一个 vlog. I think this is very, very interesting. It's
really interesting, yeah.
Even more interesting than the formal presentation.
Yes, that's what I thought too. I think that's what we really noticed, is that we needed to give some presence to the students to see behind the scenes, and it really shows how interesting behind the scenes can be, because it helps if you now watch the actual film and the show, you can see these characters and their work in the running order, so it helps give context.
所以大家其实可能跟我也会有同样的感受，就是你们觉得哇，这个视频太有意思了，甚至比那个正式的做那个成品展示的视频、fashion show 那个视频更有意思，因为它更加鲜活，更加的体现到这些不同的人他在这个工作生活当中是怎么样的，就特别真实，然后有性格的这种感觉。所以这个就是一个非常好的 fashion PR 的这样的一个方式，通过这个人性化、多样化的方法去展现一个 fashion show 一个时装秀它背后的故事。
I also think it's important to note that during this time that we produced this show, the students were under a huge amount of pressure because of lockdown, but also because in London specifically, and I know across the world, we had such a huge human rights crisis with Black Lives Matter. And the emotional toll on the students and to the staff, everyone, was a lot. So it really affected how we promoted the show, and it affected how much time and how futile things can be sometimes.
OK， 那Melody 刚才也说到，就是其实这个看起来非常欢快的一个vlog， 实际上是在大家承受非常大的压力的情况下去展现的，因为在这个 lockdown 就是封闭之后，同学们一下子就不能再做这个实体的时装秀了，因为做实体时装秀对于设计师来说，他是一个非常有动力他去做衣服的。那一下子发现，哎呀，我的毕业秀都甚至不能做一个实体的服装秀了，对于很多同学来说，它是有情绪影响的。所以他们有一个很大的一个压力。另外呢，在那段时间，就是关于人权和讨论就是黑人生命的人权的问题呢，也是非常有争议的。所以在那个时候呢，是有很多非常有争议性的话题，然后人们也面对很多的压力。
Great. So as you can see, that was the main show itself. I will send the link to JIAYING so you can watch it. But this was kind of how it began, and then the students' work each appeared with their name and their pathway in the bottom corner. As you can see, this is Violet, and this was her collection.
那么这个是中央圣马丁的毕业秀的那个正式的这个毕业秀啊，在创意学院的这个启航公开课上，我们也有给大家直播。如果大家登录我们创意学院的网站的话，公众号可以看到免费脑补里面也有这个整个的一个时装秀的一个过程。那它刚开场的时候，那个 virus 就是今年的这个病毒，就是表示病毒。
so they can watch that later if they like. But you can see here, this is Bradley, who was in the feature as well, and this is his work.
那今天呢时间有限，我们就先给大家放一部分。
Yes. So we're going to quickly move on because now time is tight, but I wanted to show you what we're moving into now. So this was in May 2020, and now we're in September, and the British Fashion Council just released their provisional schedule for September and how they're going to show. So I'm going to show you the schedule itself.
OK， 那最后一个案例呢，我们想给大家讲一下今年伦敦时装周是如何应对这个不能够实体举办的，用数字 digital 的形式来举办秀。这个也就是3天前，上周五刚刚公布的日程。
So very quickly, you can see now the difference. What they're having is there's a distinction between physical and digital. So there is an option for everyone to show digitally, and there's a whole schedule as to how they can do it. And the other difference is that they are no longer defining between men's and women's. So this is a gender fluid, a gender neutral schedule.
OK， 然后在这个新的这个日程表上，我们可以注意到2个东西，一个是所有的都变成这个 digital， 就是数字化的，那大家可以看到不同时间段，我可以在这里面实际上去做什么。第二个是它现在已经不分男装和女装了，就是无性别差异，这是一个新的方式。
So you can see here they have digital and physical, so they happen like this. And this is again tentative, so it's not to be used as as exactly, but you can see there's a huge presence of designers, but there's a lot of them that are presenting digitally here.
OK， 那么我们可以看到，就是它是分成，它还是有这个实体的服装秀，但是它每天会有一个digital 就是数字秀，然后还会有一个实体秀，会有2栏。实体秀呢就是右边的，相对比较少一点啊，有时候一天可能只有4、5场，甚至只有1、2场。
I also wanted to point out that we're having for the first time Susan Fang, who is one of our students, graduated 2015, and she has made a return to London, and we're really pleased that she's done that. So we're excited to see what she does.
OK， 那我们可以看到一个应该是中国学生Susan Fan， she's Chinese？
Yes。
一个中国学生，他是2015年圣马丁毕业的，那他今年就是回到了伦敦时装秀上来办他的时装秀，所以 Melody 也作为时尚公关会去协助他的这个服装秀。
And that concludes my talk for today, and I thank you very much for your attention. And let me put myself back on here. Yes, so that's where we're up to, just covering different things through the year, and excited to see what happens, I guess, to see how we progress now from what we've been through. So, and I hope the same for everyone in China too, that things settle down and things can get into the new phase.
OK， 那今天呢，我们也讲了5个这个案例。首先呢，也很感谢大家聚精会神的听完我们5个案例，希望呢可以对于你们的这个时尚公关和时尚交流有一个很好的一个帮助。
Yes.
OK， 那如果你们对更多的时尚公关的话题感兴趣，可以登录创意学院，看到我们这个直播间下方有一个时尚公关与秀场策划的课程，就是 Melody 主讲的。那如果有更多的问题呢，可以联系我们的小助手 Lucy。Okay, Melody, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, JIAYING. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope that you have a great, all the other talks go very well, and see you soon.
See you. Bye.